Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I wanted to talk about episode 2 and break down some of the new teaser images that we actually did get here. People are obviously very excited for this episode, and I will say this episode, it actually seems to have a lot more of a future storyline than I was thinking. I was originally a little disappointed in, first of all, the reunion I thought was really incredible, but I was a little disappointed in the fact that it seemed like episode 2 was basically just going to show a bunch of catch up stuff, right? Yes, I want to see Michonne's storyline, but we're going to wait the whole entire week just to watch basically almost the same story because the ending result of the episode is going to be them reuniting, right? But it actually looks like they're going further than that. It seems like we're actually going to see Rick and Michonne more in the episode later on. So I actually really like this overall. We're going to get a bunch of Michonne stuff, and then afterwards it looks like Rick and Michonne, I'm assuming, go back to the CRM. And I say going back to the CRM because, yeah, we'll talk about a shot here, and it does seem like things are a little, there's something off here. So before we go any further, obviously make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all of my Walking Dead content like this. And if you haven't followed me on Twitch yet, definitely go do so. I will be streaming my reaction to The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live episode 2 in just 2 days. So it's not going to be tomorrow, but the next day in the morning, I will be streaming my reaction to it. We did that last weekend. There was about 100 of you guys there. So yeah, first of all, thank you so much. That was so much fun to just be able to talk about all that with you guys. And I will have a timer this time because I know a lot of you guys were syncing up the episode with where my reaction was kind of thing to see my reaction as you were watching the episode. And I had to answer that a lot, which was totally fine because I didn't have the timer, but I will have a timer up on screen. This way you guys can actually see it and know exactly what minute I'm on while I'm watching. So yeah, I'm so excited. We're 2 days away. And yeah, it really feels like spring is here now. You know, it's March. And yeah, The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live is back. And there's a lot of news actually right now in the Walking Dead universe. We'll go over the episode 2 teaser stuff, but there's actually a lot of really incredible news. So actually the first one that I'll get into, and then we'll get into the McFarlane Toys and AMC agreement, because AMC and McFarlane Toys have made a new agreement to make new Walking Dead collectibles, like toys and action figures and stuff like that, which is really incredible. Really signals a new era of The Walking Dead because they were only doing this with the first however many seasons, right? 5, 6, 7 seasons or something like that. They stopped this a long time ago. So the fact that they're actually, AMC's making a deal like this again really says a lot about where The Walking Dead is right now and this second era of The Walking Dead, right? Which they actually acknowledge in this article. But I'll talk about that afterwards. We'll get into the episode 2 teaser images, but first, I do want to update you guys actually on the ratings from yesterday. So the ratings yesterday, like I was saying, were 896,000, which is actually true on AMC. But I do remember AMC making some sort of deal, or there was something that came out basically that, yeah, the premiere was going to actually be airing, or The Ones Who Live would be airing on other channels as well. So apparently with those channels and everything, The Ones Who Live premiere, or season 1 premiere, actually was at 1.1 million. So the premiere for The Ones Who Live was almost double the premiere of Daryl Dixon, which is kind of insane, honestly. Really, really incredible, because the premiere of Daryl Dixon was 600 something thousand. It was 631,000 on AMC, or AMC just on cable, and so this is 1.1. It's close to double, and I will say, because I've seen some people commenting yesterday, and I don't think a lot of people heard what I said. People were like, oh, why are you celebrating 890,000 or 1 million, 1.1 million? You really think that's such a high number? In this day and age, it is a very high number in terms of cable and whatnot. It's not extremely high, but it's a really good number for cable. Remember, the Last of Us premiere episode was 500,000 people watched it, right? There was HBO Max, and so it goes up by more millions than that right after that. But the same thing with The Ones Who Live. 1.1 million people watched the first episode, but once you account for AMC Plus, then it's going to jump up by millions, right? So that was the point that I'm trying to make, is that it's very successful here. Definitely, The Ones Who Live so far is doing really great. And yeah, I'm so happy that we're seeing something like this right now, right? I'm so happy to see the numbers jump up a lot like that. And in terms of the AMC Plus numbers, I don't think we're really going to get that. I know there's a chance we can get it in 3 or 4 weeks, because I do think after some time they do release some numbers, but it's never really, we don't really have the numbers for Daryl Dixon or Dead City. I think there's some numbers out there, but a lot of stuff like that, it's really hard to get streaming numbers. Even for all the other streaming services like Netflix, Disney Plus, and so on, it is very hard to get any sort of actual numbers of people watching episodes and all that. They come out after some period of time, but usually it's if they want to announce it or whatever. And so I think AMC will announce it eventually, but I just think that we're going to have to wait some time. I don't think it's going to come out at all this week. I could be wrong. Maybe it comes out today, literally, but I think we'll have to wait a little bit. And yeah, but still, really incredible news here for The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live. 1.1 million for the premiere. That's really incredible. Apparently, it beat all of The Walking Dead season 11, Daryl Dixon, and Dead City in terms of just like on cable. And I'm sure because Daryl Dixon and Dead City already broke records from The Walking Dead season 11 and all that, I'm sure that this is also doing a lot better. So, you know, The Ones Who Live, I would say the numbers right now are sort of around on par with like season 8, season 9, I would say, in terms of AMC Plus numbers and all that, right? Like back then around season 8, season 9, especially season 9, it was around like what, 4 million people would watch an episode like on cable. AMC Plus did not exist. So it was just the 4 million, like 4 million, right? So I think as of now, when you include AMC Plus, it's probably around that number, maybe closer to 5 million. So that's why I say around season 8, season 9, which is incredible for a franchise being around for as long as it's been around, right? Like the fact that you can actually have those numbers, which are very successful numbers. Like not a lot of TV shows even have those numbers. So that's why it's worth it to carrying on. And in terms of like, you know, the merchandise deal, you know what, we'll get into that right away. Then we'll get into the episode 2 stuff, because I know that people really want to get into that. We'll spend a lot of time talking about that, but I do want to also bring this up here. So McFarlane Toys and AMC actually have a new agreement here to make action figures and all that kind of stuff for The Walking Dead, just more collectibles and all of that. And this right here is a big sign that AMC is really like, I don't want to say all in, because obviously they've been all in on The Walking Dead, but they're very committed to The Walking Dead, because, you know, the last, I don't know however many years, they haven't made any sort of collectibles. I don't know when the deal ran out with McFarlane, but it was, I mean, I don't remember anything for season 9. Like, there's no Whisperer toys out there, really, right? Like, it's been a very, very long time. There hasn't been a lot of interest in The Walking Dead in terms of merchandise and all that since, like, the first 6 seasons or something like that. Like, it's been, honestly, a very long time. So, the fact that they made this here, you know, that's exciting, because now we're going to get The Ones Who Live action figures. We're going to get Rick in, like, the CRM outfit. We're going to get Michonne in her new outfit and all that. We're going to get a lot of this, the other spinoffs as well, Dead City and Daryl Dixon. We're going to get all of that here. And that's a really awesome way to make a lot of money for AMC, you know, in merchandise. And that says a lot right there. Like, they can see the audience being so excited about this that they're like, yeah, it's worth it to actually do something like this. And the fact that McFarlane Toys actually wants to do that. And I will say, I see other, you know, articles and other people out there in general covering The Walking Dead right now that haven't covered The Walking Dead in a while, because there's a lot of interest right now in this show, in the franchise right now. People are excited about this second phase of The Walking Dead. And right here, it actually says that here in this press release right here. It says, as The Walking Dead universe enters its epic second chapter, the timing couldn't be better to expand our partnership with McFarlane Toys. And this is from the head of games and franchise for AMC. Our fans are always hungry for more, and McFarlane's unique, detailed figures inspired by our exciting new series will be a welcome addition to any collector's shelf. So, The Walking Dead right now is way more alive than it's been in many, many years. And this is just really incredible here. Honestly, I'm so excited about the fact that we have The Walking Dead back in this way here. I mean, we have Rick and Michonne on Warzone right now, like Call of Duty. It's honestly really incredible. I can't believe that The Walking Dead blew up this much, just out of nowhere. But it was always going to be that. It was always going to take the first episode of The Ones Who Live to really convince people. Once people watched that first episode, then they were like, okay, yeah, I'm hooked. And I do think the ending of Rick and Michonne's reunion there was perfect. Like, the way they set all of it up, the doubt Rick had, the fact that Rick gave up on ever finding Michonne. He just accepted his whole new life now, right? And then all of a sudden he finds Michonne at the end, right? So it was perfect setup here. And so, yeah, let's get into episode 2 here. So we have this image right here of Michonne, and I'm guessing this is going to be something that happens at some point earlier on in the episode. Though I will say I'm actually a little confused on that part of it here. So we have Michonne in this other shot here, and she's wearing the same outfit that she wore in season 10. So this actually seems like it's probably going to be the first shot. There might be some other shots that maybe are connected in some way, but I don't know. Because you go back to the shot that I just showed you, she has a totally different outfit on. I originally thought it was probably going to start off like this, or maybe we would see Michonne fire that like missile thing or whatever into the Walker horde. I thought we'd see that first, and then we get to shots like this. But I think this shot here of Michonne, where she's talking to somebody here, And this is probably the group, you know, like that large group that she saw. She's probably being, I'm guessing, interviewed or something like that. I don't know what's going on here. Honestly, I wasn't expecting any of this because I thought that that group was just walking around or whatever, and I didn't realize that they had buildings that they would do stuff like this in. So there's a lot more to this group than I know. So Michonne here, it looks like she's sort of being interviewed about all of this stuff here, and probably, you know, they want to know, you know, like if she's basically a villain in some way, right? Like, is she going to hurt them in any way, or can she join their group? And obviously Michonne is going to join their group, right? And so go back to a shot like this of Michonne. Yeah, at this point here, she's been with the group for a long time, you know, and yeah, she is still looking for Rick at this point. I don't know what she's looking at this point here. She seems very stressed. I will say, you know, like, she's going to be getting very close to Rick at this point. We know that, you know, how she finds Rick. She is very surprised. She did take down the CRM helicopter, right? So she was aware of the CRM or that helicopter. So I don't know how she got aware of it. You know, the only thing I'm thinking of is the fact that there was that shot of the CRM attacking them, you know, in that little city or whatever that they were in. So I'm guessing they were all there. The CRM attacked them. They ran and whatever. And then basically, you know, they wanted to go and get their revenge or whatever. And then they found that helicopter going somewhere else, although I guess it was a different one, right? But they saw that same sort of helicopter with the CRM logo on it. And, you know, they followed that. And then I guess they just sort of timed it properly where they took the helicopter down. That's my guess for how this episode's going to go. I don't know. But then we get this shot here of Rick Grimes in a CRM uniform. So here is where things get very interesting. So obviously where we last left off, Rick and Michonne were reunited, right? They were on the ground there. They saw each other, like, whoa, crazy stuff, right? And I thought all of episode 2 was going to be basically Michonne's backstory building up to the final moments where we see how Michonne found Rick, right? Well, that seems to be probably not the case. So we see Rick here. It looks like he's at the CRM again. You can just tell because of the buildings here, right? Very similar to the CRM, like military place or whatever that he was at. So we see Rick here with the CRM outfit on. He seems very like he's looking around like he's not supposed to be doing something, basically. So my guess is, first of all, he's there with Michonne. There's no way Michonne's just going to leave and like run away. I'm thinking because, you know, there's this other shot from the trailer actually where you see Rick look the other way and he seems scared. To me, when I look at that shot, I'm like, there's no way he's looking away just because of, like, you know, like, he's with Michonne and he's not going to take his eyes off Michonne, right? Like, he found her, and unless he heard something, right? Or someone is coming, like the CRM's on their way. And so he looked that way. If you remember in the very final moments of the episode, of episode 1, he sort of, I think he called for reinforcements. He pressed a button or whatever it was on his belt. And so I think reinforcements is coming, which makes sense as to why Rick is here right now, right? Like, they got there, another helicopter came and probably picked them up or whatever. So I'm assuming that that's Rick reacting to the fact that the CRM are coming. There's no way Michonne's going to be able to get away at this point, right? So I think Michonne, and I don't know about Nat. That's the thing. We don't see Nat in the scene. So where is he? Like, the only thing I can really assume is that he's actually with the group that was, I guess, that Michonne was with, right? That's the only thing I could really think, because how did Michonne separate from them? Again, that's the interesting stuff that we'll learn in episode 2, right? But I do think during this scene here, Rick and Michonne are actually at the CRM here, and maybe they're hiding Michonne. Maybe Michonne is being, like, interviewed and all that. A lot of that does get scary, you know, and I do kind of, I think the story is going to go there. And I think that's where Jadis can come in, because if Jadis learns that Michonne is here, you know, Jadis might be pretty upset about that. I think Beale would be very upset about that, right? The fact that Michonne is there, because it's going to cause a lot of stuff for Rick. And so, you know, the second that they find out that Michonne's there, it's going to be insane. So I wonder what they do with all of that, you know, like with Michonne, like the second the CRM learn of her name and all of that, and they learn her connection to Rick, like, that's the thing. As soon as Rick and Michonne get back to the CRM, they're probably going to be split apart, right? And so that's why I think that they're probably keeping Michonne in some place far away from Rick. And so we see Rick right here just kind of looking around, trying to find Michonne and doing something he's not supposed to be doing here, right? That's just kind of the look that he's giving me here. That's the impression I'm getting. But then we get this other shot here of Michonne, and we know that this is related to a shot that I think will be happening at some point halfway or like a quarter into the episode here, where she's talking with Nat and then the other two characters. We have another shot here of Nat here, and yeah, he's with Michonne here, obviously, in this scene. Very interesting character. I'm really excited for this character because he's very good with pyrotechnics. Like, that's sort of, I mean, we saw it in the premiere episode, right? Like, he literally took down the helicopter. So I'm very interested in learning a lot more about the character. I'm hoping that he becomes a fan favorite. Having more fan favorite characters are honestly just incredible. And that's the thing about the spinoffs that I've been seeing a lot of people talk about in terms of just their reviews of these episodes is like, wow, all the new characters from The Walking Dead are interesting. You know, like The Walking Dead's last couple of seasons, they introduced all these characters and no one cares about any of them besides Connie, I will point out. Connie was a really amazing character, but a lot of people are just pointing out the fact that, you know, like the spinoffs here, or at least they're pointing out the ones who live, like all the side characters are so interesting. And if you watch Dead City or Daryl Dixon, all those other side characters are also very interesting, right? Like, especially Daryl Dixon, you have Isabel and everyone else, right? Like really, really incredible characters in the Walking Dead universe. And I think that just comes down to writing, to be honest, like writing and just having more faith in those characters carrying scenes. And some of it could have to do with casting, but I really feel like it's just giving those characters a purpose. Again, it comes down to writing mostly, because you have to write the scene to be really incredible, write the characters to be so good that when you give a character, you know, a lot of screen time and whatnot, that they're going to be able to make it interesting and that they're going to be able to connect with the audience, right? So comes down to casting and writing and all of that, but they've been doing such a phenomenal job with all of that. And that's why I think Nat could be a really important character here in the Walking Dead universe. So yeah, I'm excited to learn a lot more about him here. And then we have Rick here. This is the final image here that we got, or the final one that I saw that was, at least the final one that I saw that was kind of noteworthy here. And we see Rick Grimes back in his apartment. And obviously the questions that I have are like, you know, who's in the apartment with him? Like, it's so hard to kind of predict with that. It could be Beale. I would say Okafor, but Okafor is, you know, obviously Okafor is dead. I'm going to say it's like Pearl Thorne. I mean, it could be Jadis, but I'm going to say probably Pearl Thorne. Although then again, technically we haven't seen Jadis yet. The reason why I say this is because obviously he's in his apartment here. It looks like he just walks in and he turns around and he has like this look of just like, what are you doing here, right? Like that seems to be what he's thinking here, unless he's looking at something on the TV. I'm assuming that someone's in his room here waiting, and it's probably because of the Michonne drama. Like they saw Michonne walk in and they were like, I know who that is or whatever. And maybe Pearl Thorne, maybe that's something that, you know, she brings up in this episode. She's waiting there because she saw Michonne walk in and is like, I don't know what you're thinking by having Michonne here, this and that. Like this is going to cause a lot of stuff or whatever. Because remember, Pearl Thorne is very like, she wants the CRM to succeed, right? She does want to make it better and all that. She does want to honor what Okafor wanted to do, but even Okafor would have big issues with Michonne being there, right? So it could be Pearl Thorne. It would be incredible for it to be Jadis, like just to have our first time seeing the character. Like that would be insane. But I feel like it just makes more sense for it to be Pearl Thorne, I guess, if she sees Michonne walking into the CRM, right? Like that just, it makes sense to me. And that's the thing, Michonne being there, like I guess that's the thing that I kind of, that's the question I have is like, they're going to split them up, right? Rick and Michonne aren't going to be able to talk, but obviously Rick is going to try and sneak around and all that to try and find her, right? And so what happens at that point? Like what's going to happen with them? And I feel like Rick is going to be worried about Michonne because what if they just kill her off, right? And that's the thing. They might actually have to interview her to figure out if she's going to be an A or a B. Michonne is so going to be an A, right? Like they're going to be like, no, you have leadership qualities. They're so going to kill Michonne, right? Like they're going to see that she's a leader. She thinks for herself and all that. They're going to kill her off right away. So that's what Rick is going to be concerned about here. And I think that that's why he's going to try to prevent a lot of that. There's going to be a bunch of issues here. And maybe Pearl Thorne, after Okafor's death, you know what, that could be what this scene is here. Pearl Thorne could be here to talk with Rick about maybe some of the Michonne stuff, but maybe like, you know, what's going on with Okafor now? Like we were doing all of this, like what's, you know, are we still doing that? Or is because Michonne's here, are you just going to leave now kind of thing? That could be possible, right? But I am very excited for episode 2. I can't wait to see where the story is going to go. And then yeah, we'll just kind of build for episode 3 and we'll see where everything is at that point, right? But it looks like episode 2 is going to be much more than just Michonne's backstory building up to the final moment. Again, I don't have an issue with watching Michonne's backstory. I'm very interested in how she actually got to that point of finding Rick. Like there's a lot of things there. The only thing I don't want is like the ending of the episode to be that, because then it feels like we're in the same spot for 2 episodes, right? But it seems like we are getting more. So, and I think they were aware of that, right? They were aware of the fact that if we just sort of have the same ending for both episodes, you know, people are going to be like, maybe the context is different, but I feel like, no, it's probably going to be, judging by these images here, they are going to go back to the CRM. And then I have so many questions on like, is Michonne even back there? Like, I'm assuming she's going to be, but what if she isn't? So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video and I'll see you guys in the next one.